Hello, fellow Minecrafters. Gearsaw Studios here. Today I'm going to show off Minecraft 1.18 pre-release 5, along with a quick overview over 3 and 4. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, let's investigate. So, here we are on Minecraft.net, which is an easier way to see all the snapshots that are pre-releases. So, taking a quick look at 3 and 4, nothing really changed in number 3, but a couple things are gigantic performance drops after a couple minutes, which I've definitely experienced, have been resolved, along with generated deep slate overwrites ore veins, mainly iron ore veins, which were missing. Also, foxes and grove biomes weren't the snowy variant, and other things. So, pre-release number 4 was only released because there's a lot of crashes going on. So, going into nether portals or creating single biome world with nether biomes would cause crashes. Crashes going through end portals or creating a single biome world with end biomes. Or upgrading a 1.17 super flat world because of biome decorations. But number 5 is actually big enough. So, if there's any bedrock at height 0 in a chunk, new world generation will appear under any non-air block at height 0 in that chunk. So, that's a pretty neat change, but I don't see what it means though. So if you know what it means, please comment down below. Now, all these are just things to do with textures. So, it's not too significant, but there's a lot of them. So I'm going to go through most of them. Over here at these absolutely gorgeous mountains that are very tall, which means there's going to be a lot of iron, coal, and emeralds in them. There's actually a lush cave below here. And there's an issue. The azalea trees used to signify that they existed were missing. But now they generate again, and they generate better now. So, you're not going to see them on top of bamboo or trees. Instead, you're going to see them growing like normal things, instead of weird goats on mountains in real life, because they seem to defy physics in real life. Down near the other cave biome, the dripstone caves, now there's way more of those less tiny tip of dripstone points. These were originally way too common, but the rarity has been increased, and now there's more spikes. So it provides a nice clean feel with all of that spikes, instead of making it look like someone just went around placing down dripstone points. Which also means this place is probably a little bit scarier, considering that you might accidentally hit yourself with one of these while trying to chop it down. Speaking of dripstone caves, another issue has been resolved with these massive points generating onto the surface. So if we go in this cave over here, which might as well be the surface for this demonstration, there is not a giant dripstone point coming out of it, which means you're not going to have a dripstone version of Azalea Trees, unfortunately. But this also means the above ground is a little bit cleaner. Also, there's 2 geodes right next to each other. A lucky find, I'd say. A huge change for builders has been made in terms of stripped logs. Dark oak stripped logs are now more representative to their log, which is pretty much a complete overhaul to the side texture. Originally, they're very desaturated and kind of gray. For comparison for you builders out there, including myself, this is spruce, which means dark oak is now darker than spruce, which is just a good thing. Just for a small comparison, this is the current texture of dark oak stripped logs, so quite the significant change. Another issue has been resolved pertaining to block textures. Red stained glass and blue outlined glass, so the outline of blue glass, were actually supposed to be a little different in their transparency values. So this is what they look like now, and here's just a little spectrum, so that way you can see the comparison. They're originally a little too opaque apparently, but now they aren't so opaque. so that means they're a little easier to see through. Along with that, apparently the top of the glass pane texture was never updated in 1.14. So it's been fixed now, and the texture is looking better than ever. In fact, it seems like it should be its own block almost, because it really is just that good now, instead of the jagged programmer art. For the final texture changes, a line in the door textures of oak and iron doors has been fixed. I don't see the difference, and I might be missing something. So here's the item textures in case I am missing something. Just for your info, they were changed in the previous snapshot, and it's up to you whether you like the textures. I personally like the old textures more. But along with that, the base plate of armor stands now uses the new smooth stone texture, which means your armor stands aren't going to be so out of place when you have a build with tons of smooth stone. So, for those of you who really just don't like figuring out a food source that's sustainable early on, sweet berries are more common. So that way you can set up that pretty bad food source really quickly. Also, it seems like azalea trees are very common now, probably since they've been removed accidentally for a couple of snapshots. They seem much more common in comparison, as I can see quite a few of them in this area. Because their striking green texture that does not blend to biomes might be a bug. It's just very out of place, but it's not particularly bad because remember, it signifies the lush caves. Another thing pertaining to certain plants not generating common enough, there are some melons here in the jungle, which were originally very, very rare due to a bug pertaining to their regeneration. So, those of you who need to make a jungle expedition to increase your villager trading potential, you're in luck because the melons are more common and less likely to not be found in a jungle. Albeit this is pretty unrelated to the current snapshot, I found a very, very large cave, which some tweaks have apparently been made to cave generation, so they might be a little less common, but that might just be for world converting. So, looking around, this is just a very large cave in general, with an amethyst geode there, and it extends for a very long time in this giant cave that spans for many blocks. You might even reach 1,000 blocks of just continuous cave. It even breaks the surface in this large savanna mountain. So, remember to look out for these caves. Also, another texture issue that has been fixed. The grass path texture was actually never updated for the texture update, specifically for the side textures. This has been resolved now, and now grass paths are not going to look out of place if there's a lot of dirt or grass sides around it. Along with that, this is a very large mountain, to the point where it actually reaches the cutoff point, 256. So, remember to also look out for giant mountains like these, since 1.18's release date is actually November 30th. So, with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, before I go, just a quick look around this beautiful terrain. Since 1.18 is right around the corner, it's just nice to see what worlds will now look like. So, with that view done, Gearsaw out.